Heather, thanks for being with us tonight. Let's hit the highlights of the president's proposed budget. What are those?
I'd say there's three key highlights. Number one, this budget shows no end in sight to the debt problems we have in this country. It's showing big deficits for the next several years of over $1 trillion a year. Number two is the president is really trying to draw a red line here with this budget and saying he wants to see even more money for the military next year and more money for the border wall. Those are going to be big fights in Congress. And third, the White House stresses that this budget has the most cuts ever of any budget a president has put forward to Congress. There are substantial cuts to pretty much every domestic program, including about a third of a chop to the Environmental Protection Agency and just over a 10% cut to the Department of Education.
So, of course, Democrats especially have been talking about their displeasure with the Medicare cuts. So, and some of those others that you have mentioned. So where do we go from here? What's the next step with this budget?
For most in Congress, this budget is a non-starter. It's sort of a, thank you very much for submitting this, Mr. President. I'm going to put it in the recycling bin right away. But it does sort of set up the stage for the president's 2020 reelection campaign. Also, the current budget will expire at the end of September. So there will be some sort of a fight between Democrats, some Republicans, and the White House over what funding looks like after September 30th.
There is an increase in there for defense spending and also that $8.6 billion for the border wall. We know the border wall has been a big point of contention. It's led to that 35-day government shutdown. So how do you think that's going to go over? Are we going to get anywhere in that border wall fight with this proposed budget?
Well, we'll see. The one trump card, if you will, that President Trump will have at the end of September is that there's also going to be a debate about something called the debt ceiling. If we don't raise that, it basically means America won't be able to pay its bills after September 30th. So it's possible the president could try to demand funding for the border wall in exchange for some other priorities that the Democrats want, or in exchange for ensuring that the United States government can still pay its bills. But that would be a big gamble. It's unclear the president really will be able to make that fight.
So should we be looking ahead to any changes to this budget before anything is actually voted on?
There will be huge changes. Again, Congress is basically ignoring this document. Even Republicans in Congress have said that the cuts, particularly to places like the Department of Education, they're just not the direction that many in Congress want to go.
As always, we'll see what happens in Washington. Thanks for being with us, Heather.